cooler cup. I thought, oh, we're away.
Who's coming? You? Oh, shit.
Is it playing anything?
It's recording, but nothing's happening.
All right, I'm just going to click the video then again, and we'll just have to go from there. Hello and welcome to the Giricast, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Giris out there. I'm Nick Bell and this is the preview show, the show where we look ahead to Malaga's game at the weekend. And I tell you this for free, they don't come much harder than this. Almeria, other visitors, are near neighbours from just a little bit further east down the coast, our Andalusian neighbours. And my God, are they in some form at the minute. Recently relegated from La Liga. One of the favourites for the league at the start of the season. They've had a bit of a bumpy road in the first couple of months, but now they are flying. And here to talk with me, all things Almeria, are my two Giricast colleagues. Luke Chambers, how you doing?
I'm very well, mate. After a bit of a not so much negative podcast the other night, more of a reality as to where we are. But yeah, ready to talk some positive Malaga, some very, very tough Almeria.
Yes, we've managed to put a few days of not talking about football, Malaga-wise, to the test, and we've rested and we've recuperated, and we are now looking forward to this game on Sunday, which we'll both be at as well, which is always a nice turn for the preview show. Another man who I know is definitely going to be there on Sunday because he lives just down the coast. Chris Marquez, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. This week seemed to fly by so quick. It's already Thursday.
You blink and you miss it.
It's crazy. This is the week that passed by the quickest of every week. I don't know. maybe because you guys are coming. I don't know.
Yes, we're very excited to get down to the coast. First time for me for a while. I was last down in I think the beginning of October it was. Luke, obviously you were there 2 weekends ago. Obviously you've got the flavour now, so you'll be back on your own this time, which will be interesting.
I can only hope that he doesn't have too much of the flavour this time.
I will be behaving. I put it down to the super patch around what we had after that game. Jesus.
No, but well, hopefully some more super patch around this time round, because as I've mentioned, Almeria are visitors to La Rosaleda. Almeria, one of those places, it's not really on the tourist trail as far as Andalusia is concerned, but a beautiful city nonetheless. Chris, I'm going to assume you've been to Almeria at some point in the past.
No, never.
Never been to Almeria?
No, doesn't really go up my. There are so many beautiful cities. Cordoba is beautiful. You didn't see much of Cordoba, did you, Luke?
No, I again, we're pissed with my Peña.
No, but you saw the surroundings of the stadium.
Yeah, Arcangel were basically like a skip yard, not the most scenic area.
But
I can concur. Cordoba is sensational. If you get a chance to go up there, Luke, on the train or something, it's phenomenal.
The part you have seen is such a big contrast with how beautiful the center of the city is. It's really stunning. Sevilla is very beautiful as well. A very beautiful city. Granada is amazing. There are a lot of Jerez is also pretty nice. Cádiz is also amazing. But I don't know, Almeria just doesn't really attract me.
Yeah, I've never been as far east as Almeria, but I've visited a few of the places you've mentioned there, Chris. And there is still history in Almeria, but it's a much more agricultural centre, really. But I believe most of the tomatoes or strawberries, one of the two, are grown in Almeria more than anywhere in Europe. It's home to Europe's only desert, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Great.
And a lot of Western movies are recorded there. That's amazing. But that's about
Game of Thrones recorded there. If you're an Indiana Jones fan, that was recorded there. But my funnest fact about Almeria is John Lennon's Strawberry Fields Forever. That was written in Almeria, which I think is a nice touch as well, which probably means the strawberries are the biggest grown produce there. But
many spaghetti westerns were Almeria. I didn't think this would be the case, but I am actually the only one who's been to Almeria here. I went when I was 13. I went on just a family holiday when I was 13. I mean, it was really, really quiet back then, but so that was about 2003. Back then, the formerly known Estadio Mediterraneo was just being built, and now obviously it's less flattering, shall we say, the Power Horse Stadium.
Power Horse Stadium.
Very nice name, Power Horse Stadium.
Strange, like you don't ooh Spanish football at me. The Power Horse Stadium.
Is that the most
stadium called? Spotify Palace?
Yeah, well, yeah,
something like that. Is that the most Yorkshire approach to going to the Costa del Sol, Luke? Is that your dad going? We're going to the Costa del Sol, or we're going near it.
Can I tell you very quickly? There's a very weird story to this. So obviously, back then I was 13. I was in secondary school, and I played the old "I'm sick, I need to go home." So my dad came and picked me up. We were walking home, and this were back in the teletext holidays days. And my dad was like, "We're gonna book a holiday." So 2 days later, we flew out to Almeria, Requestamar, I think it was called. Had a week out there, and it was great. But I suppose you can't really do that with schools these days. But it was quite a surreal little trip and very, very quiet place, I've got to say.
Yeah, it is one of those places, to be fair. It's becoming a lot more well known as the property, not to take this away from being a football podcast, but the property prices, obviously, in the Costa del Sol are now getting so high that Almeria is sort of becoming the alternative. So there's like towns there which are like 50% British now. Rightly or wrongly, whether you see that, but that is just the case. It's becoming a lot more.
But that's like AliExpress, isn't it? I mean, everybody wants an Apple Watch, but not everybody can afford the Apple Watch. So people go to Almeria instead of the Costa del Sol.
You get a bargain, but I don't think there's any amount of money saving that would make me go live in the desert. But that's by the by, to be fair. But on to the actual football team.
We're talking about stadium names. The stadium of ADO Den Haag in Holland. It's now the Kyocera Stadium, but you know what it was before?
Being Dutch, this could be anything.
It's the worst stadium name ever. It was called the Cars Jeans Stadium.
The Cars
Jeans. I think we might have a rival for that, and I don't know if you know too much about Bolton Wanderers, Chris, and obviously they've got their stadium, which was known as the Reebok Stadium for donkey's years, and it's been a couple of other sponsors since. It's now called the Tough Sheet Stadium.
What?
Tough Sheet. Chris, you say that with your Dutch accent.
Tough Sheet.
Tough Sheet Stadium.
Tough Stadium. That is generally what it has.
It's a lovely stadium.
It's a great stadium. It's a bizarre company name, but each to their own.
It's like a sheets company.
It's like a cladding or like a roofing company, I believe. But that's generally the name of Bolton Wanderers Stadium for those who maybe haven't heard that one. But to bring it back to Almeria, our opponents who are playing us on Sunday, like we said, we're going to be out there to witness this one. A couple of months ago, we were looking at Almeria, Cadiz, these two teams that have come down from La Liga, and thinking, this league's wide open. These money spending boys, they're up to no good. They're doing crap. Almeria seem to have turned it around very recently. I didn't really notice this in the league, but they've shot up there. They're currently second in the league. They are scoring for fun. And since Ruby has come back in and taken over as manager, he seemingly has picked up where he left off last time for them, really, and he's got them playing really, really well. What do you know about them, Luke? Is there anything that jumps out to you about how Almeria play, the players that they've got?
To be fair, they're a strange club. In truth, like the structure of the club, like you've just mentioned, they went up to La Liga. failed massively. I mean, what did they win, one game or two or something? I expected bigger things. Obviously, we all know they're a very wealthy club. They're owned by the man who's basically running half of world sports at the moment, Turkey Al-Sheikh. I suppose it wasn't for FFP. You are sorry?
Is he still giving away cars?
I don't know, but if it wasn't for FFP's rules and regs in footballs these days, what we don't know about, then I imagine
he gave away cars to fans. That was a thing. He gave away cars, money. He did like these giveaways. Really?
Yeah. But I imagine they'd be spending
a very wealthy man, isn't he?
Oh, just a bit. I mean, for any boxing fans, the Riyadh season, all that. But yeah, Almeria, they've won 8 of the last 9 games. That's where this form's came from. Like, they are a strong team. And I know we're going to talk about them more in depth, but I'll hold my hands up now. They're going to win this league. For me, I'll say it now. They will win the league for me.
Yeah, they're on an
we said that about. I heard someone else saying that a few weeks ago that they were flying, but then Malaga comes and puts everybody back on the ground.
Yeah, that were your mate. That were the Racing dude on about toilets.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to win or we're going to draw.
Yeah, I am feeling positive about the weekend, but it's going to be very, very, very tough.
We're shite away from home.
It's definitely going to be a tough ask here. You know, you look at some of the results they've got from, October time, beating Albacete 3-1, beating Elche away 2-1 as well, turning Cordoba over 4-0, beating Deportivo, beating Granada last time out as well, who are obviously sort of backing amongst the form too, that, as you said, Luke, that they're not going to be pushovers at all in this game.
It's like you said, since Ruby came back, they really have recharged to what they were a season and a half ago.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, there is one podcast out there who looks at Spanish Segunda football and they look at everybody and they really get a good view. Unfortunately for us, they love to send us voice clips to explain a bit more about our opposition, a bit more depth with maybe a less biased view. And this week, it's not Alex Fitzpatrick, who was unfortunately not feeling very well last week or earlier in the week. So this time we've got Liam Bambridge of the Spanish Segunda Show, who's going to talk to us a bit about Almeria.
Good evening to you all from one of the 2 Spanish Segunda Show headquarters. I'm in the cold one in Manchester, while Alex tends to fare a little better in Mallorca. Just wanted to give you a bit of a rundown on your opponents this weekend. Almeria, can't really give you any particularly heartening news. Unfortunately, Almeria are absolutely on fire at the moment. They won 8 of their last 9 games. I don't think the defence is necessarily that fantastic, but they've got such attacking firepower, and that's spearheaded by Luis Javier Suarez. I mentioned all 3 names there because he's obviously known to most as Luis Suarez, but this season he started wearing Luis Javier on his shirt. Whichever one he chooses to be, he is an absolutely phenomenal player at this level. Absolutely banging him in all over the place. Scored an unbelievable goal last week against Granada. And Almeria, after a slow start, are beginning to live up to our billing of them as championship favourites, really. They are, as I've said, a formidable outfit in terms of their squad depth in midfield. They've got 2 beasts in terms of their physical presence, Lopi and Idrissa Baba, who has had a few seasons. Well, they both played in the league. Obviously, a lot of these players did play quite a lot in the league last year. I think that might be one of the problems initially, the psychology of coming down and having had a fairly poor season and getting relegated initially. When things weren't going for them, they seemed to struggle a bit. But recently, they got right back to their best. Arribas, another very, very good player. So we did actually preview this game, Alex and myself, on our Patreon content, and the previews that we do. We choose 3 games a week, and I think we both did go for an away win here. But I think both of us do feel that there's just something about Malaga on occasions such as this. When they're faced with adversity, this team is tremendous when you're expecting very little of them. And you have to say, after the 2 away defeats, probably not in the best of spirits overall. But there's something about La Rosaleda, there's something about this Malaga team, the commitment, the cohesion that they show. And if they can, by any chance, just dampen that Almeria firepower, then they definitely can cause some problems at the other end. And we went into the Racing game a couple of weeks ago. Alex and I were both saying the same. We thought probably a away win, but you never know with Malaga. And look how that turned out. A fantastic performance from your boys. And they were very lucky not to win that game. I think this is an even taller order, I have to say. But, there is hope there if they can really keep those front players at bay and then look to hit on the counter. And then who knows? And we'll obviously be wishing them the very best of luck in their endeavours.
By the way, the guy you saw in the video, the guy you saw for the people on YouTube, that's Alex Fitzpatrick. That's not Liam Bainbridge, the one with the Liga mic.
It is, but we can't change the graphics all the time. It says Spanish Segunda, it's fine, which is always worth a listen if you want to know more about La Liga Hypermotion in its entirety. They do a great, thorough podcast on a Monday, and they've also got a brilliant Patreon as well that they work on. So, in terms of Almeria, then Luke, listening to that, obviously we're talking about a couple of the standout players there. Luis Suarez is just the beast at the minute. 12 goals this season out of 17 games. He's really sort of like hit his stride now, having lots of fun. But supported by the likes of Leo Baptistao and Roberto Ron and Edgar in defence. They're just littered with stars, aren't they, for this level?
Yeah, they're definitely not a one-man team, but my standout player was Luis Suarez. However, like Liam said, Luis Javier Suarez. Unbelievable what he's doing at the moment. I mean, one particular stat what I've written down was he scored 12 goals this season, like you rightly said, Nick. That is 2 less than the whole Malaga squad, which is fucking grim. But it's where we are, and it's nice to hear Liam on the podcast. He were very, he's filled me with a bit of confidence now. He really has.
It is, and he's right. And obviously that's a terrifying fact there, Chris, with the fact that they've got a player who scored two more than our entire team, and we focused a fair bit of time on. Yeah, well, we focus a lot of time on this podcast looking about the lack of a goal scorer and lack of a striker for Malaga. Almeria seems to have got it in bucket loads a minute, and the supporting cast that goes with them.
Yeah, but it's always easy to support a team when there is a lot of money and and you win a lot. You know what I mean?
It is, but like you say,
I think
Luis Suarez,
if you're winning, the one who wins always has a lot of friends, and the one who loses never has a lot of friends.
No, definitely, and I think as well, Luke, they've done well to keep hold of Luis Suarez this summer. I know they had one of the lads go to Leeds, didn't they? Was it Ramazani?
Yeah, Ramazani.
That's the one.
I mean,
but to keep
sorry, Nick.
I was going to say to keep Luis Suarez at this level when he could probably gone and found himself, maybe a bottom end side in La Liga, maybe, or certainly moves abroad of where he probably could have got a bit more playing time, a bit more money, maybe. But the project is there for Almeria to bounce back at the first time of asking, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Luis Suarez, he's had spells at Watford, Marseille, and never really settled. Looks like he's found a bit of a home in Almeria. But yeah, although they've not exercised their overall wealth in terms of signings, they've definitely done it by keeping the big names. But they also, if I remember rightly, did they spend €8 million on a goalkeeper at the beginning of this season? I dare say the last 5 years, no, probably more. We've not spent €8 million. The last 10 years, maybe.
They spend it. How many did they spend on Appia?
Fucking hell, that were a lot, and that's what 5 years ago.
There was the record in Segunda. I mean, that's the difference with Malaga, because they have, of course, they have a top scorer who scored 2 less goals than the whole Malaga squad together. But our whole squad costs probably half of what that striker gets a year.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to look at it like Liam said, that Almeria are not invincible. There's no reason why Malaga can't beat him, especially in La Rosaleda. I mean, Granada, they've kept their wealth within their team, and Malaga were by far the better team in Granada. I think when you look back over the seasons, Almeria are a very good Segunda team, even before the wealth. They were always there and thereabouts, just not good enough to go into La Liga, shall we say? I mean, there's a lot of yo-yo clubs in there.
I don't know.
Definitely. I think a few seasons ago when they had Umar Sadiq up front, it's like they just swap one in and out, don't they? But Chris,
Yeah, but
on
that
this
was
one,
also when the money was there, Nick.
Yeah. I'm not saying they didn't have cash at the time, but it's just like they always seem to have a goal scorer. But how do Malaga approach this game then, Chris? You know, knowing what they know and maybe on the back of a couple of the performances we've had where we've lost the last two games in the in Levante and Castellon, what needs to change for this game?
Strange enough, I wouldn't change nothing because I don't see why you should change anything. I don't see why you should change anything when you played so good against Racing Santander at home. So
True.
I don't know why we play horrible when we're not playing at home, but I wouldn't change too much. We all know Stupetta is not going to play, which makes total sense because you have Castel, you have Dioni, and you have Rocco Baturina. So you can't have three strikers on your bench. So you would have to leave one out of the squad list. I don't see that happening. So I think the most logical thing would be to start with Dioni, I guess.
Yeah, Luke, are you sort of buying into that? I think with this one, obviously we've had those two away games where we've lost. Levante was a very good performance still. Castellon slightly different that we talked about, but what would you do, or what did Malaga need to do for this game against a steam train?
Well, for me, I always think the best form of defence in La Rosaleda for Malaga is to attack. Get the crowd on the side early doors. Like Chris knows better than anybody in Fondaso, the crowd will sing and sing and sing, and it's effectively a 12th and a 13th man. Racing the other week struggled in La Rosaleda because Malaga started on the front foot, got the atmosphere up there and really revved it up, and Racing couldn't really cope. Obviously, we've got to be solid at the back because, as we've just spoke about, these are a team that give them half a chance, they are going to score. Personally, I'd like to see Kevin and Antonito both come in for Lebetti and Bramani. As Chris said, I think Dione's going to start. I think Dione is the best of a bad bunch at the moment. I'd like to see Aaron Acho Maloney start, but I don't know where I'd get him in, if you know what I mean. Like, obviously, David Odubi is on fire. You need Manu Molina and Luis for me in a game like this. You need that experience as that core. Ramon's not quite ready. Hopefully see him for another half an hour or something, but it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game Sunday.
It is, and maybe I'll just press you on this one because we didn't really talk about him on the Castellon review, but Matt said we were, but we didn't. Chris has already sort of like put his cards on the table and said we've got three strikers there: Rocco, Dione, Cell. We've got to have them named in the squad. Chipete's, we haven't got room for him essentially at the minute. Do you agree with that, or do you think, is this a bit of a free hit potentially where you could play Chipete from the start and put those three strikers on notice as well? Because that's the biggest thing I can put towards that, is that at the minute it doesn't feel like they have much competition, so therefore they don't have to perform as well because the bar is so low. Do you chuck a young 20-year-old in there to mix it up?
I get it. I totally get it. It's like a head and heart kind of thing. Heart saying yes, we want Chipete in there, but then I also totally agree with Chris. I can't see Sergio taking one of those, shall we say, experienced strikers out. I'd drop any one of the three. I think they're all.
But it's not something you can do at this moment, and I think there are a few reasons. One is Atletico Malagueño is doing very good this season. They have been the last 3 seasons or 4 seasons. They always have been playing playoffs and never got promoted. So they really, I know from the club that they really want to get Atletico Malagueño promoted because that's good for the academy. It's good for the players of Atletico Malagueño. So that's a very important thing because Chupete is very important now this season with Atletico Malagueño. And then you can say, yeah, but the first team is more important. Well, I agree and don't agree because having Atletico Malagueño playing at a higher level makes your talents or your youth players so much better. So it's very important. That's the thing. And the other thing is you have 3 strikers. You can't have 4. You would have to, I don't know, let someone, Rocco, Dioni, or Castel, you have to send them to the stands.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
will
from
Might be.
that will
Can
kill
I
them.
do I get to pick which stand I can put Rocco in? Because there's one in Portugal where I think he'd sit really
Yeah,
well
well,
right now.
it's like for me personally, they could find a solution.
if
I.e.,
you if you
if
if
they,
you put Rocco in the stands now, that would create a big thing in the changing room. A big thing.
I just think obviously we're in December, we've got 4 games left of 2024. Malaga could potentially solve a big issue here. I mean, if Chipete got a chance and maybe scored 2 goals, we're desperate for a striker in January. If
Yes,
Chipete came in and showed what he can do on this level,
there's another question. I mean, do you really think Malaga is going to sign a striker in the winter?
I'd like
Because
to think so, because
that means
we've got 3 very, very, very bad centre forwards.
but that means that you will have one of those 3 at the stands every week. That will kill your changing room.
I
That
just
will
think
kill
that
it. It will
I,
kill
see
the
that.
atmosphere in your changing room.
I
It
think the
really.
change room's going to be killed more if we get relegated.
But
And
we won't
without a
get
centre
relegated.
forward, that's the way we're
I
heading.
mean,
Unfortunately.
let's be honest. Are we really going to get relegated? I don't think so.
It's not a
Cordoba's in relegation and 4 points below us, I think it is.
Yeah,
That's
and playoffs is 7 points away.
Yeah, but I mean,
you
come on,
can never really.
we've got 14 goals in 17 games. That is poor. That is piss poor.
It is, but
If
it is what it
if
is.
it was me, and the thing is, you've got to obviously take in the other factors around the club at the minute in terms of finances and the struggles and things like that. The likely chances, if they go out and sign anybody, he's not going to be a Luis Suarez type player.
No.
He's not going to be a 20-goal season striker, but they probably will go into the market. I imagine that unless there is a release clause inside Rocco's loan agreement that he could get maybe shipped back out. But to be honest, it's football, and these are consummate professionals. They get paid very, very well to kick a ball around on a Saturday and Sunday afternoon. So if one of them gets put in the stand and has to watch, that's motivation for them to get back
Yeah,
into
but
the
it
team.
doesn't. It doesn't work as motivation, and
It
it
should
will.
do.
Yeah, but it doesn't, and that will change your team for the bad, if you ask me. And I don't think
No,
any striker you will sign, you will be able to sign in the transfer window in winter, will do any better than what we already have.
I just see it as it's December now, and we've got 3 centre forwards who's got 6 goals between them.
Yeah,
I dare say if us 3 had played a couple of games up front, we'd get more than 6 goals between us. I'd like to think.
I think you're looking at me a bit favourably there, Luke, if I'm honest.
I think the biggest problem is that it's the changing every week of striker,
Yeah, I can agree with that.
which leaves them with total confidence. So what Sergio Pellicer should have done is pick one and play him through the season. You're my striker. You're my number 9.
Yeah.
You got all my confidence. You will do it. Don't worry. You will get you will make your goals. Don't worry. It will come. It will come.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
it's
like we said on the review.
We played Castel the next week. We played Dioni the other week. They're all getting out of confidence. Why? Because
it's like we said the other night on the review. Like Romani coming off at half-time again. Why start him if you haven't really got that much belief in him? It does nothing for a player getting dragged off at half-time. And it's a sub what Sergio likes to make, isn't it? How many times this season has he dragged 1 or 2 players off at half-time? Like kind of admitting defeat, like with the wrong call.
Yeah, potentially. It'll be interesting to see who he does go with, because I do agree with you there, Chris, that changing it every single week isn't working, and effectively is meaning that we're playing with one less player because none of those strikers really are up to speed. Obviously, this is in away another Andalusian derby. We're all going to the game, so it won't be far from a sellout, will it, Luke? Or will it? We never truly know nowadays with the season ticket sales, do we?
No, well, what I've seen from match highlights, Almeria, they actually travel well all over Spain as well, very much like Malaga do. As you said, Nick, it's a derby, and in terms of the size of Spain, it's not that far away. But obviously, yeah, like you say, we're all going to the game, and hopefully they bring a lot of fans and create a fantastic atmosphere because, you know, the Malaga fans will be doing their utmost to get the stadium bouncing.
Yes, we will. We'll be bouncing on the very back row, won't we? Of 538, we managed to get tickets for the very back row of there, the last four that were remaining. But yeah, I suppose that's Almeria in a nutshell. Sunday afternoon at 4:15 local time kickoff, which is an interesting one for this time of year.
Is that a good kickoff time, Chris? Or
no?
For
Sunday, maybe. I think for a Sunday, it's a good time.
Yeah,
but I like the night ones with the lights on. I like it better, and it's better times.
I might be sober in Rosaleda. This might be my first sober appearance in Rosaleda this season.
But let's be honest, after last match, which we all totally understand because you had a long flight, and it was a very long day. But after last match, maybe it's good for you to be a bit sober, a bit.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching the game and remembering it.
Did you fall asleep this time?
You are?
Did you fall asleep this time?
No, well, it's something I haven't ever mentioned, but during the Elche game early on in the season in the second half, I was nodding off. And I have never, ever done that. I feel embarrassed as a football fan. I mean, we were shit, but there's no excuse to fall asleep, no matter how much alcohol and 1.5 hours sleep, may I add.
No, true. Well, I'll join you in that one, Luke, because I've got to get the flight back at 10:30. This actually is like the last chance saloon for a game on a weekend. When you book those flights, not knowing when the kickoff's going to be, you're like, phew, 4:15 kickoff will do. But I'll say thank you to you guys for joining me. Luke, thank you very much for joining me from Doncaster. Chris from the Costa del Sol. You've been listening to the Geary Cast or the Malaga fan podcast for all the fans out there. There probably won't be as much coverage on socials this weekend because we are all out and enjoying ourselves. We'll try our best to share our experiences, as we know you like those pictures and things like that. But we'll pick this back up again next week where we'll review this game, and we'll see you again soon. And as always, Vamos Malaga.